It's time for our daily dose of cope, and we have Mini Masha Catnip at the news anchor's desk for the Leopards News Network. There are plenty of stories to get to, so let's jump right into it. Take it away, Mini Masha. I go to Donald Trump's Live Social page, so you don't have to. They are really trying to act like Barack Obama is running from the cops. They have a little Donald Trump here, they have big face J.D. Vance here, and they are chasing Barack Obama. One of his sicko fans posted this underneath this with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in orange jumpsuits. They really want to distract from the negative publicity and the Jeffrey Epstein files that just will not go away. It's not working, obviously, but they are still just going to hammer that they think that Barack Obama needs to go to jail. Texas has really been going through it. They had those tragic floods that took the lives of so many people. They've had so much funding pulled. Their labor force is being decimated because of mass deportations. Farmers are being harmed. Trade barriers are being put in place that are harming businesses. Now, let's talk about this. Texans will pay higher power bills as clean energy development slows because of tax credit cuts, economist says. And remember, Texas took itself off of the national power grid, which has jacked them up where it comes to heating in the winter and air conditioning and getting those rolling blackouts in the summer because they have some incompetent, extra dumb, no foresight having Republican leaders that are, and I will just say this again, that are literally just dumb. And so now with this one big beautiful BS of a bill is going to continue to cause Texas residents to have increased power bills because of these tax credits being wiped away. Texas, like I said, is going through it. They're going through it. But let's go ahead and look at this article from the Texas Tribune. Economists expect that the development of solar and wind farms nationwide will slow and electricity prices will rise in the coming decade because of significant rollbacks to tax credits that benefited those industries, in addition to other economic uncertainty. Texas, which has built more wind power than any state and is a top contender for the most solar power, faces this projected slowdown as grid operators predict soaring electricity demand. Energy analysts have noted that an unusually high number of solar and battery projects in the state were already canceled or paused in the months leading up to the tax credit cuts because of uncertainty over how deep the cuts would be and the specifics of tariffs that would raise prices of steel. From battery manufacturing in Brookshire to a solar product facility in Stratford, advocates worried that billions in announced investments and tens of thousands of planned jobs might get killed as project economics change. They are getting jobs swiped off the books because of these cuts, and Texas and their Republican leaders are directly responsible. With less renewable development likely comes lower employment, pressure on grid reliability, and slower state economic growth, said Robert Stavins, a professor of environmental economics at Harvard University. From an economic perspective, it's not good for Texas. Sweeping Democratic legislation that passed under former President Joe Biden dramatically expanded credits for clean energy producers. The policy changes brought billions of dollars of investment to Texas, much of it to red districts. The goal was to lower greenhouse gas emissions and establish the U.S. as a top clean energy manufacturer and producer. Donald Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill on July 4th in an effort to extend tax cuts from his first term and lower federal spending. And I just want to remind us all that he wants to extend tax cuts for millionaires, decamillionaires, and billionaires, not poor people, not poor MAGA, not impoverished MAGA, not unhealthy MAGA, but rich donors that are not you. Among its sweeping changes, the law dramatically shortens the time frame for when solar and wind companies can use the Biden-era tax credits. Listen to this. Texas's 2 Republican senators and 25 House Republicans all voted to end the subsidies early, with some, like Chip Roy, grousing that Congress did not go far enough. Texas is now taking steps to restrict wind and solar project development further by slowing permitting timelines on federal land and tightening eligibility rules for projects trying to qualify for tax credits before they phase down. Their own lawmakers are saying, y'all don't need these jobs, y'all don't need this credit, y'all don't need any money, F y'all. That's what their Republican senators and representatives are saying. They said, screw y'all. On top of that are the unknowns around inflation, tariffs, and geopolitics, which combine to create broad economic drag, said John D. Sturman, professor at the MIT Sloan School of Management. All that uncertainty just makes business people very uncomfortable, and that generally depresses investment everywhere. It's not just what's in the big, beautiful BS of a bill. Economists and energy analysts have been crunching the numbers on how bad the fallout for solar and wind companies could be from the new law. The business-friendly regulatory environment and ample windy and sunny places that fueled Texas's clean energy boom should help keep some businesses coming, but experts in wind, solar, and battery growth will still be hampered. Now let's talk about this conservative group that are now peeved about tariffs, despite the fact that Donald Trump said, I plan to tariff everybody, and he's been doling out tariffs willy-nilly like he is a dealer at a card game. So this article is titled, Someone Gave the President Very Bad Legal Advice. Conservative group sues Trump, claims tariffs are a presidential power grab that usurps Congress's right. It really is, but Trump, who's going to check him? Nobody in Congress is checking him, so he is doing whatever the hell he feels like. A conservative legal group is suing the Trump administration in Texas over the president's tariffs on Chinese imports, alleging that they were unilaterally imposed through an unlawful use of an obscure emergency executive power. The 24-page complaint filed Thursday by the New Civil Liberties Alliance, NCLA, in the U.S. District Court in Austin alleges that the authority to impose such tariffs lies exclusively with Congress, not the president, and seeks a preliminary injunction enjoining their implementation and enforcement. It is the second such lawsuit filed by the group over Trump's levies. A tariff is an attack on Americans' commerce with other countries. The Constitution assigns Congress exclusive power to impose tariffs and regulate foreign commerce, the complaint states. Presidents can impose tariffs only when Congress grants permission, which it has done in carefully drawn trade statutes. These statutes typically authorize tariffs only on industries and countries that meet specified criteria and only under specified conditions after following specified procedures. Such tariff authorizing statutes, the plaintiffs say, require advanced investigations, detailed fact findings, and a close fit between statutory authority and the tariff scopes, all of which they say were conspicuously ignored by the administration. The Trump administration is attempting to bypass such constraints by invoking the International Emergency Economic Power Act of 1977 in a manner that has never been done since that statute was passed nearly a half century ago. According to the nonprofit, the IEEPA grants the executive sweeping authority to quickly combat international economic crises, permitting the president to order sanctions as a rapid response to international emergencies. However, the NCLA asserts that the emergency statute does not allow the president to usurp the legislative branch's control of the country's purse strings through the unilateral imposition of tariffs. These unlawful tariffs are a presidential power grab that usurps Congress's right to control tariffs and upsets the Constitution's separation of powers. Andrew Morris, senior litigation counsel for the NCLA, said in a statement, "They are especially crushing to small businesses, including our clients in this case. The court should hold the tariffs unlawful and strike them down." The thing is, these people, MAGA, Republicans, are not checking him in Congress. They are not checking him in the Supreme Court. Well, some of the things are falling in the Supreme Court, but they have basically allowed Trump to be a king. They have allowed Trump to be a dictatorship. And he's basically saying, who's going to check me, boo? It's going to be interesting to see what Gen Z does come midterms. Supposedly, they're having some buyer's remorse because of polls. I don't really trust polls completely, but people have got to see how terrible he's making everything. And I'm wondering if that is going to translate into the midterms. We shall see. So this article is titled, Poll Reveals Gen Z's Buyer's Remorse Over Trump. I really hope that the people that voted for Trump are feeling terrible. I hope that they're stressed. I hope that their money is hurting. I hope that their cortisol level is up. I hope that they wake up every single day like stressed. I wish the worst for them. And I wish that it goes on for 1 to 2 years at least. Some cases, I wish for it to be 3 to 7 years because I believe that they deserve the worst. And I believe that this feeling needs to go on so that they are motivated to vote in the midterms. And until such time, I have absolutely no F's to give. I don't give a damn about the regretful voters. I am not that person. I don't give a damn. I'm not here to welcome them with open arms and kumbaya and hugs. F them until they help to fix the fires that they started along with Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. We can get into this article though. And I do want to just point out that this artwork is amazing. They did a really good job over at the Daily Beast. All right, so the article. Gen Z voters have all but abandoned their support for Trump, according to the new poll from YouGov and The Economist. Though Trump saw an unprecedented spike in approval with the age group late last year, this has quickly dried up. By July 21st, his approval rating sat at just 28% among Gen Z voters, a staggering 62-point drop from its peak just 8 months ago. I am no expert at graphs, but I can see that this line went from up here at the top, and then it went like crashing down. And that is promising. And now this graph is titled, How is he doing with the youth? And it looks like he's doing terribly. And I hope that he sees these polls and feels it. And I hope that he feels immense stress or whatnot. I don't know what he feels, but I really do hope that the Republicans see this and they get a little antsy, because what they are doing is jacking up things for the people that are coming of age. And y'all know that I watch these birth rate trends. They are really setting it up so that the adults that are coming of age right now will barely be able to survive, let alone have some babies. All right, back to the article. Gen Z's sense of buyer's remorse for the president set in almost immediately following his re-election and has only gotten worse. The president's favorability among the age group peaked at plus 19 on November 16th. It started to drop even before the inauguration and sat at a modest plus 5 on January 25th. By February 6th, just 2 weeks into his term, it had dropped to negative 19. According to YouGov's poll, his ratings never recovered. He's remained underwater with Gen Z's voters since March and is fast approaching his lowest ever approval rating among the country's youngest voters. This part. And young voters are expressing similar displeasure with the Republican Party more broadly, according to G. Elliott Morris. Nearly half of Gen Z voters Morris polled in July said they thought the Republican Party had moved too far right, while only 24% said the Democratic Party had moved too far left. I hope that that is accurate. I hope that that sticks and stays. And I really do hope that the midterms net this out and show that this data is correct. All right, it says, since Trump announced his re-election campaign in November 2022, the YouGov has only recorded his favorability as falling below negative 43 among the 18 to 29 age group. I'm waiting to see if this remorse turns into action and makes them vote against MAGA, vote against Trump and his administration, and vote against any and all Republicans. If not, I am hoping that they continue to see it worse and first, because they deserve it. All people that voted for him, set out, or did those protest votes, you deserve everything that's coming for you, and I hope that you get it, and it's terrible.
Well, I don't like Trump anymore. Can we be friends again? Not a popsicle's chance in hell there, you slack-jawed fucking sycophant. Because despite whatever harebrained and most likely selfish reason you have for disavowing your orange daddy, it does not cleanse your soul nor my view of you for the shit that you let slide. Because here's a list of things that weren't deal breakers for you over the last 8 fucking years. Sexual abuse, bigotry, an attempt to overthrow the Constitution, countless human rights violations, and just about every form of ism on the face of the fucking planet. And none of it mattered to you. And unfortunately, all of it matters when you're applying for friendship or respect from me. And unlike a late payment on a credit report, that shit doesn't fall off after 7 fucking years. That's not to say that there aren't people who can experience a genuine transformation. Some of these people are just so fucking stupid that it's taken until now to see the consequences of what they've done. But unfortunately, those consequences don't go away. The people whose lives are ruined, the people who just aren't here anymore, their lives don't just restart when you change your fucking vote. So I'm happy to see you wake up, but it's gonna be from arm's fucking length.